on the agenda, hopefully we will make a decision so that they will have the information they need. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I'd just like to make a comment, I had something I'd like to read pertaining to the item.
Okay.
I have a copy of it, I'd like to record it in the minutes verbatim. I'll provide a copy to Ms. Mills after the meeting.
Okay.
Dear fellow board members, we must regroup. Before we select options on the front end of a plan, we must consider the entire master plan for all facilities to be our starting point. Whether we all agree on key components or not, we must adopt a plan and move forward. There seems to have been two major considerations that are part of these discussions we have all had. That is number one, cost, and ability to pay for what we do, and student opportunity. Number two. When weighing in student opportunities against cost, what we do in changing the status quo must be explained legitimately, to the point where every board member and the public can clearly understand exactly what those opportunities could be and how they relate to the current configurations. However, if changing our composition to an extent comes at a cost and division among the county that cannot be supported by reasonable measure, we must move on. If cost is the most heavily weighted consideration, the board must look to that as the starting point as it relates to our real ability to finance such a burden paid by the property owners, and how that has serious implications on our local economy, which already struggles. Capital cost is proven to be greater than any consolidation or new or modernized description in the midst of options. My opinion is that we need to seriously consider facts and what we will have the majority of the support in the county, whether you are a taxpayer, a parent, one with no children, a retiree, or an elderly person on a fixed income. Ultimately, we should put our thoughts towards the effects for all students in the county. We must seriously consider that we are a large rural county with a documented population decline, higher poverty rate, and what the future may withhold with respect to all of that. To pursue a single project that will likely be the most expensive construction projects ever taken on in this county seems contradictory to our mission and our common sense. The total assessed value of real property in the county is $59 million according to our most recent audit. We should not bite off more than we can chew at one time, but plan sensibly to lessen the amount of tax impact with the greatest flexibility and ability to control debt in the long run. Any bond we issue is ultimately a lien upon every piece of real property in the county. PPI presented several scenarios for master plans for us cost for each. Agree or disagree on how much particular items in PPI's estimates needed adjustment due to unknown variables at the time. There was only one scenario that was the most cost reasonable. I implore this board to adopt a cost reasonable master plan as a starting point which we can buy into, the public can buy into, and one that gives us flexibility. We should consider using the taxing authority we have as a board to implement such a plan and rely on the architects and contractors that are up for consideration tonight to help us achieve our goals within the ability that we have. We do have the ability to issue considerable amounts of capital project bonds each year, and I believe we may be forced to implement a plan that suits that ability, even if we need to do so alongside a smaller bond issue to jumpstart it. Yes, taxes will go up within our existing taxing authority, but it is something we can start now. And if and when we would need to quit borrowing for whatever reason, we have the ability to do so on a year-by-year basis. This beats obligating property owners to a 25-year bond for $50 to $100 million figures that we've been discussing as a one-time deal, when none of us can see what that means for our educational system or county in the future. Again, I understand the intent of the board is we need to do something now. We can do something now and gain support for it as long as we do what we say we're going to do. Regardless as to some of our disadvantages of the county, we have a wonderful county in so many ways that blow folks out of the water in comparison. We have the best people, best students, best teachers, parents, grandparents that make up our respective communities. I would never live anywhere else. Let's sideline buzzwords like consolidate, new, and modernize, and find a common place of agreement on cost, reasonable phase renovations. In all options in discussion, a common place of agreement seems to have been combining the Career Center with Abbeville High School's campus and bringing the middle school component to Dixie. If that is the case, then let's come together on these components as first steps. There is no reason we cannot meet on common goals. In conclusion, we should lean on reason and adopt a plan that starts with providing for common sense phase renovations at both high schools and John C. Calhoun Elementary. Let me be clear, I am not suggesting we try to renovate 1950 spaces, but to demolish those areas and rebuild in some way that we can afford. Solutions are available for this. We can even design the high school facilities for common goals with the ability to investigate alternates to add the Career Center to Abbeville High Schools and ability to expand Dixie High School to be a combined high-middle campus. Even if we don't do or can't afford those alternate components right now, we can plan improvements to allow for such later on. We can set this path in motion tonight and finally get off the ledge we've been staring down for so long now. Let's lead by example for our children and do something now that makes sense, but not only an educational opportunity view, but from a realistic, cost-effective, and tax burden standpoint. Side of Abbeville High School. Number 2, Dixie High School, phased partial replacements and renovations, as is grade configuration with future potential to develop a combined middle-high campus. 3, Career Center, lab renovations. 4, Wright Middle School, systemic repairs. 5, Cherokee Trail, systemic repairs. 6, Diamond Hill, systemic repairs. 7, John C. Calhoun Elementary School, phased partial replacements, renovations, and systemic repairs. Long Cane Elementary School, systemic repairs. Westwood Elementary School, new entrance and systemic repairs. And furthermore, this plan will be immediately provided to PPI for development of the capital improvement program. And furthermore, the Master's Facilities Plan and Capital Improvement Program will be reviewed annually by the board in the first quarter of each calendar year beginning in the year 2021. And furthermore, the administration is authorized to enter into an agreement with LS3B Architects to proceed with the design services up to and including conceptual schematic design phase services for the following list of projects contained within the Master's Facilities Plan made a part of this motion, and consideration of add alternates thereof, which are also made part of this motion. Number 1, phase partial replacements and renovations to Abbeville High School and Dixie High School, including an add alternate design for a combined middle-high campus at Dixie High School, including an add alternate design to relocate the Career Center to the current Abbeville High School site. And number 2, phased partial replacements, renovations, and systemic repairs at John C. Calhoun Elementary. I know it's long. I have a copy if anybody needs it.
Okay. It's been moved and set that, do you need to give me a copy or do we need to reread all of this?
No.
Okay. All right.
I can email a copy if you want to.
All right. So it is moved and second that we move the direction based on what has been stated by Mr. Dunn. Okay, any discussion? We need to vote on Mr. Dunn's motion. And then we go from there, okay? That's my understanding. All right. Well, okay. All those in favor of Mr. Dunn's motion, you all understand it. Let it be known by raising hand. All those, motion did not pass.
No, you have to.
Okay. All those, he said, how many phrase that? All those opposed Mr. Dunn's motion, let it be known by raising your hand. Okay. Now we're at the same spot, so we need to move.